2024 meeting. We will start off with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. The prayer by Commissioner Anderson and the pledge by Commissioner Schill.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful we can be here together as a planning commission and as citizens of Washington City. Please help us to be able to be mindful and have a clear mind and be able to make good decisions today. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So item 1 on our agenda for the night is approval of the agenda. If we can get a motion for the approval of the agenda.
This is Commissioner Mitchell. I move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. I gotta give the date, November 6th, 2024.
Ms. Schill, I second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes from the October 2nd, 2024 meeting.
Ms. Schill, I move that we approve the meetings from the October 2nd Planning Commission meeting.
This is Commissioner Mitchell. I second.
I have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3 is declaration of absence and conflicts. Does anybody have any?
No.
Okay, cool. So the first item is a public hearing, and it is for a request for a conditional use permit for setbacks and reliefs located at 147 North Washington Parkway. The applicant is Brown Consulting, and we will turn this over to Eldon.
Thank you, Commissioners. The applicant is requesting approval of conditional use permit for a reduction in the side yard setbacks on an interior lot line. Currently, the property is one parcel and meets all the required setbacks. The applicant would like to subdivide the property in the future with a property line going between the buildings as shown in the exhibit. Those two buildings that are highlighted in red there. The proposed setbacks are 7 feet to the tenant building and 3 feet to the car wash kiosk, which is the smaller building. Interior side yard setbacks for this location are 10 feet. In the commercial zones, developers can ask for setback relief from the Planning Commission. With that being said, the first step is to obtain setback relief from the Planning Commission. If the Planning Commission approves this request, the applicant can then move forward with subdividing the property as shown in the exhibit. Staff recommends the Planning Commission approve C-24-16, allowing for a reduction in the side yard setback on an interior lot line from the required 10 feet to the proposed 7 feet and 3 feet. And this is located at 147 North Washington Parkway, and based on the findings and conditions in the report. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time. So the two, what we're doing here, the two buildings highlighted in red, the 3-tenant building and the kiosk building for the car wash, everything's one lot. He's going to throw a lot line down the middle between those two buildings, which will then interfere with the 10-foot separation. Exactly, correct. You're exactly right.
where's the current lot line?
It's one parcel, so it's a boundary.
Oh, it's, okay.
It's all one. And when he built this, they met the 10-foot separation requirements. Now that it's built out, they're wanting to come in and subdivide so they could sell off properties if needed.
Well, if they're going to subdivide it, won't it have to come back for, to be a subdivision of some sort? So we can enforce some sort, recommend they have a CC&R or something so that the grounds stay kept up when that happens. Because if each one owns their own separate one, it's not like one person taking care of the whole property. I mean, maybe I'm looking too far ahead. That would be for when it was the next phase.
I guess I'm
right?
not sure what your question,
Well, if he wants to change the lot lines so that they can sell them, more than likely. So I'm just wondering, which personally I don't have a problem with it, but I was just wondering if when they come to, because this is going to have to be
subdivided.
subdivided, correct?
Yeah.
And then there'll have to be some sort of something saying that it's all,
Well, that's what this conditional use permit will do. We can actually make that part of the subdivision's approval process.
oh, so this is is this for the subdivision or just for the lot line adjustment?
It's gonna serve both. As long as they bring that in like that, and we have that exhibit, we should be just fine.
Okay.
So is this the edge of the building right here?
It is, yes,
And he wants to adjust this to how many feet?
7.
7 feet? And then this one here is gonna have how much of a setback?
3. Yeah, they meet all building fire code requirements.
This
It's,
is all one happy parcel, and he just wants to divvy this off, correct?
Yeah, carve out.
so in essence, each use will be its own lot.
Right, yeah.
Car wash, tenants, and then the pads are broken up
So-
as well.
Is this telegraph?
Below that.
On the left-hand side is Telegraph, you can't see it.
Yeah,
It's over there.
Telegraph's to the left, Washington Parkway's down at the bottom of the TV there.
This is normal.
Okay. So he's gonna use this shared access to get into it, correct?
It's there right now.
Yeah.
You can drive down there, that building, that Lot 4 is built. The little kiosk for the people going into the car wash is built. This just came an issue when we found out they wanted to subdivide. He said, really, you don't have the ability unless you get a conditional use permit to be able to do that.
What's gonna happen with the shared access property? Is that gonna stay parking? Is it gonna be a building?
It'll remain shared access parking for vehicles to come and go to each use.
No building?
No building will be allowed to be built on the shared access.
They're punching through to that north boundary there where the 10586 is. That's the next lot over.
Will, Anderson, will both buildings have like an easement agreement with that shared access?
Yes, they do. It's stated on the plan, shared access all the way through, so both accesses are connected.
If we subdivide it and become two owners, does that still cover them, or do they have to change the language of that easement agreement? That's my question.
That's kind of what I was wondering.
Because right now, their easement agreement is with the one owner of everything, so if you split owners, you might have to amend the easement agreement, just say that it applies to both owners.
All
Or
owners.
maybe it says it runs with the land and it doesn't matter, but just something to look at. I don't know, he's the attorney.
Somebody's going to have
Well,
to,
right now, there doesn't need to be one, okay? It's one lot. They can only lease these buildings So it doesn't matter as per today. It's just when they do the plat, it'll have to be on the plat when they sell off the lots.
That's,
And it'll be on there. They're showing you what the plat's going to look like.
yeah, that's the question I was asking, basically.
This is showing you almost what that subdivision is going to be, but this is just your exhibit to show
Right.
you where everything is.
And that's why I was curious when you said, well, it could be in there with it, but that'll come back for a subdivision.
Yes.
So we'll address that at the subdivision time. Okay, that was my question earlier is,
What's the kiosk?
For the car wash. You've been to all the car washes, right? You pull in before they let you go through with the gate. The little, tenant comes out, says, hey, what do you want today? You say, I want the premium wash. You pay, they open the gate. It's a little building they come in and out of.
And that's gonna be on the property?
Already is. It's there today. I could drive you down there and stand right next to that kiosk building. Yeah. The car wash is functioning and running, and that's just where you drive in at.
So they're selling that, not the 3-tenant building, or are they selling the 3-tenant building?
Either or.
but we don't know
They're
yet.
making it for the purpose.
Right now, the one owner owns all of it, but they want the potential of being able to subdivide.
That makes sense. Thanks, Eldon.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. I'll open this up if there's anyone in the audience that has anything to say to this item. Okay, I will close the public hearing portion of this. If you want to make a motion, let's do it.
Commissioner Anderson, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of C-24-16, request for a conditional use permit for setback relief located at 147 North Washington Parkway with the findings and conditions outlined by staff.
First by Commissioner Anderson.
This is Commissioner Mitchell, I second.
I have a second by Commissioner Mitchell. Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Schill,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
I'm Commissioner Bullock. I'm an aye as well. Does this go to city council?
No.
So it passes then. Even when it's on Telegraph?
It doesn't matter because we're not doing the business or the building. That's already been done. They already got a conditional use permit for all that prior to. This is just setting it up to be able to split the pieces.
Awesome. The next agenda item is 4B. The Z-2407, a request to rezone approximately 0.45 acres located at 1350 East Washington Dam Road from the current R18 zoning to a proposed I2 zoning designation. The applicant is Jared Bates, and we will turn the time over to Eldon.
The requested zone change is from the current zoning of R18 to a proposed I2, which is industrial. This request is to unify the zoning on this parcel and allow the current industrial use to expand as shown in the general plan. It's been slated for industrial for quite some time now. This particular location has a general plan land use of industrial. The surrounding zoning to this parcel is industrial to the south, west, and north, and R18 to the east. Staff has no concern with the proposed zone change. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of Z-24-07 for the zone change request from R18 to the proposed industrial I2 use onto the City Council, and that's based on the findings stated in staff report. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
I don't have any questions.
Thanks, Eldon. This is a public hearing, and I will open up this right now for the public hearing on this. If you guys have anybody in the audience has anything to say on this. And we will open this to public hearing. We did get the online. We've had a chance to go through and read all those, the comments that were submitted online. So if if you submitted those, we do have them, they are on the record. So if anyone else would like to come up and talk to this. Really? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Do you guys have any questions on this? Because there's no access to it at all, is there, besides going through A-Trust? I don't think it's, I don't know who owns the property, but there's still no,
So their current property is I-2, is that correct?
yeah, they want to,
So we have an I-1 in our?
yes,
The dark purple is I-1, the light purple is I-2. We try to keep the I-2 out on the street on Washington Dam Road, but because this owner's property went all the way back when we broke up the industrial zoning, this one just happened to go back there.
Yeah, one part of this change is, it's kind of hard to see from this map, but the industrial property below is probably 30 feet, 25 feet below the subdivision above. That's kind of why they're not connected, I think.
right, and that's what I was saying, there's really no access into it.
Correct.
Do you know who is
Who owns it?
A-Trust the owner?
A-Trust owns- Yeah, it's actually the same. There's two parcels there owned by A-Trust, and the zoning is within, it has different zoning in the same parcel. That's what's happening now. So we're just trying to clean it up. See the dash line with the kind of the circle in it? That's there's the parcel to the north and the parcel to the south, and both parcels have both I-2 and the residential zoning in it right now. So we're just trying to clean it up. That was Eldon's idea, so.
Awesome.
So are
Thank
they
you.
currently using the property? They use it for outside storage or anything?
They're kind of using it now. It's tough because there's a hill there, so yeah, you can see there's a building on it now. They're just gonna expand their trust buildings, what they want to do, so.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is Commissioner, so I don't know if we need to bring up some of those comments, but there were comments about noise and different things. But me personally, I feel like the noise is there. It's not going to change. I mean, it's industrial. You're surrounded by industrial.
Yeah,
There was a lot of concern with that, but to me, the whole the subdivision that they live in is surrounded by industrial. So the noise is,
yeah, it's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
The industrial was there way before the houses.
yeah. I just felt like maybe we'd, point out that we did read the comments. We do have the concerns. We know what the concerns were, but to me, the noise has been there. It was there before the subdivision went in. It was before they built their houses, so.
No? I would only hope that they would just help them clean it up a little bit. It just looks way industrial, but that's just.
But that's what it
2
is.
cents worth. Yeah, I know.
That's exactly what it is industrial.
Well, where it's general planned this way, that's what the intent has always been. And most of the stuff out there was industrial to begin with, and they've little bit by little bit changed it to residential, but it was always industrial.
I just say keep it clean. No, I know.
Should I make a motion? All right, this is Commissioner Mitchell. I make a motion that we approve item 4B, Z24-07, a request to rezone on approximately 0.45 acres located at 1350 East Washington Dam Road from the current R18 zoning to proposed I2 zoning with the 2 findings, and send it to City Council.
I have a first by Commissioner Mitchell
Commissioner Anderson, I second.
and a second by Commissioner Anderson. Have a roll call vote. Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Schill,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
I'm Commissioner Bullock. I am an aye as well. So this will pass and go on to City Council. 4C. What is 4C? 4C is a briefing document.
Correct. This is item
This yours?
4C, consideration to recommend to the city council a new code that creates an airport overlay zone. I'll take it since it's been my issue. You'll see there on the monitor, page 1 is the actual text of the new proposed city code that creates the airport overlay zone. You see to the right on the screen there, this is the state law that requires that cities adopt an airport overlay zone. And so I highlighted some of the areas that the code is trying to cover. Staff has, because Washington City doesn't own and operate its own airport, and because we're doing this in light of the St. George Municipal Airport that operates near and over some of our neighborhoods, the area upon which the airport overlay zone would be applied to is quite small. Drew, if you want to scroll over to that map, the state law and the proposed city overlay zone for airports defines the airport overlay zone as 5,000 feet from the runway. And so those lines, there's 3 lines. The purple line is the one that would most likely apply, which is that's 5,000 feet from the main runway. There is a question as to whether the taxiway is intended to be a runway for purposes of drawing this distance. And we've talked with the state legislature. They acknowledge there's an ambiguity there, so that may or may not. So if it was to be the taxiway, the airport overlay zone would go to the green line. The blue line is 5,000 feet from the exterior fence of the airport. We don't interpret it to be that way. That's just a line there to show you kind of how much of Washington City this touches. If you look inside the nearest purple line there on the interior line, the purple line, you'll notice it crosses through portions of Stuckey Farms and the Freeport West project, but also crosses portions of St. George lands as well. And so that lightly colored light blue or grayish line is the boundary of the cities. And so that's a section right there. You'll see the cursor touching that little piece would be a section that's impacted by the Washington City Airport overlay zone. And then to the north, there's another section up there in Stuckey Farms that would be impacted by that. To put this into place, we first have to create the zone. And so this would create a new zone designation of airport overlay. And then the city council has to go through the hearings to both consider it and adopt the law. And then they have to go through another public hearing to impose that zone upon that land. And so there's kind of a multi-step process. Your role as the land use authority is pursuant to state law. Every new land use city code must go to the planning commission first. And so this is one that we certainly want all the feedback you might have, but it's really a narrow recitation of a state requirement that is intended to create some favor for airport usages in the lands that surround them. This zone requirement essentially requires that the city give landowners notice that they're within the airport overlay zone. And when they come and develop, it requires that we require of them as a condition of approval that they go to the airport operator and sell to them an avigation easement above the land. And that easement essentially would allow them to increase traffic as well as fly other planes. Anything that complies with state or with federal airport laws, they would be able to do as a condition of that easement that would be sold to the landowner. And so it's a zone designation we don't currently have. It's one that we would like to get into place to comply with the state law that says we got to have it by December 31st, 2024. Any questions on that?
So, this is Commissioner Anderson. My question is, what about all the people that live there currently? Do they have to give an easement to the airport?
Because they would essentially be, I don't like the word grandfathering because everybody understands it differently, but because they were subdivided and built before this law went into effect, this law does not require that they retroactively do the same thing. And so this would just be for lands that would come before the city on a permit. We would then exercise this overlay zone requirement on that applicant.
Is there some that are built inside, isn't the green line the one that is?
In Washington City, I don't think there are any that are built in that section yet. Those are still vacant, those two corners. There's construction underway in both of those though, which means there's some degree of permitting that's happened there.
So, I mean, I don't know their exact flight plan, but it looks like you probably would be close to having planes fly over now. I mean, do they fly in easements they don't own right now?
So there's three designations. We have what's called the airport influence area, the airport overlay zone, and then also the runway approach area. And so there's no question that the runway approach is flying over built homes right now, right? But those are far enough away from the runway that they don't fall into the airport overlay zone. And so we've intentionally written the airport overlay zone to only be as much as state law requires that it be, which is 5,000 feet.
Isn't there plans for another runway?
I don't know. I don't know if there is.
I've heard that.
You'll see what they own there. I know there's plans for terminal expansion. They've now got a bar license up there. I know there's other plans, but I don't know where they would place that runway, and they would have to really go through a process to give notice to the landowners around them. And then if they were to install a new runway, we'd have to create a new map and try and decide whether that changes the location of the overlay zone that's been assigned to the lands by the city council.
So does this enable it to where if they do add a runway or whatever, that it just automatically assumes that map would adjust with that?
Right now, it's written in the generic, which is the overlay zone is 5,000 feet from the runway. Well, it doesn't say that, but yeah, if there were to become a future runway, we would interpret it to be that way. And so on this one, if you're looking on the east flank of the airport property, we would measure 5,000 feet from the closest runway. Now, if the new runway goes on the west side, it doesn't change our map, right? It just changes St. George's map on the west side. If a new runway were to come on the east side, we would need to go amend our zoning map and then have the city council take action to apply the zone to whatever lands are encircled from the new runway. That's why we submitted the question on the taxiway. It looks like a runway. It looks like something that could easily be improved into a full runway, right? But it's not identified by them as a runway. It's a taxiway only. And St. George City, when we asked them, they did not take the position that it should be treated as a runway for purposes of the airport overlay zone.
Does the 5,000 feet apply vertically as well? So like once they're 5,000 feet in the air, it no longer applies?
No, it's, they would love to have restrictions to that height. 350 feet is the maximum, is the closest that they're allowed to restrict on the land. And so we don't allow anything 350 feet.
Anything above that is free game.
Yeah, if somebody was to come into Stuckey Farms and want to build a 400-foot steeple, they would run into FEC and airport problems.
I was referring the other way, like once the planes fly a certain height, it doesn't matter whether they have an easement or not. That's what I'm asking.
Correct. The easement is really, the easement's purpose is looking 20 years down the road when this airport has bigger planes and more of them. And, you know, a resident that built their home there happily in 2015 that wasn't worried about the 5 flights a day is now acting like it sounds like they're at UNLV. And anybody that's been to UNLV know what I mean. There's just every 2 minutes, giant jets taking off out of the Las Vegas, the McCarran Airport there, right? And so yeah, the easement's purpose is to have a recorded encumbrance on those lands to essentially hamstring their ability to bring a claim against the airport in the future when the airport's usage gets bigger and faster and louder. Yeah, it's essentially a real property record. The reason why the legislature wants it to be sold is it shows an exchange of consideration. And so, yeah, it's all meant to give the airport's future better clarity as to what they can grow to and become. I don't know if you opened a public hearing, Chairman, but for purposes of land use, state land use law, we probably had to open it for public hearing and see if anybody wants to comment.
So I will open up this item to the public hearing if anyone here wants to speak on this item. Okay, I will close the public hearing on this item.
Commissioner Anderson, I'll make a motion to approve. Is this approving or
It's a recommendation.
and approval of Z-24-07, a request to rezone approximately, oh, I'm on the wrong one, sorry.
It's just an overlay zone. That's why I was confused.
Consideration of an airport overlay zone.
To recommend approval of the consideration, recommend approval to the creation of an airport overlay zone.
This Shill, I second.
I have a first and second. Commissioner Anderson? Commissioner Schill?
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Aye.
I'm Commissioner Bullock. I'm an aye as well. This will go to the city council with a recommendation. So item 4D is amend the detached accessory dwelling unit parking requirement from the required 2 parking spaces to 1 required parking space. And I don't know whose this is. I'll give it to Eldon.
I'll take it. Thanks, guys. This is, comes from to stay in compliance with the moderate income housing that we report yearly to on the state. We would like to make things easier for the detached accessory dwelling units. Right now, our code requires 2 parking stalls. We feel like it'd be a good change to go to 1 parking stall and adopt that into city ordinance. And also stay in compliance with our moderate income housing plan. And you can see the verbiage there. Maybe I'll just read it. Currently, it states 2. We want to scratch 2 and replace it with 1 additional on-site parking space shall be provided in addition to the required parking standards for single-family residential lot. The parking space shall be a minimum of 9 feet wide and 19 feet long. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Could you tie it to a square footage of the accessory building rather than just a flat 1? I mean, maybe they're gonna build a 2,000 square foot accessory building. They're gonna need more than 1.
Our code restricts maximum units to 1,000 square feet. And the lot size needs to be a minimum of 10,000 square feet. So the lot size is generally bigger, which homes typically have a 3-car garage and some side parking on there. So I feel comfortable with 1 stall.
Because they only need 2 for a home, right?
Correct.
And the 3rd car could count for most of it. Most of them are gonna have it anyway. And if
Yeah,
they don't,
and as long as they have a space on the side of the house that's 9 feet wide and 19 feet long, you know, it would fulfill this requirement.
awesome. Thank you, Eldon. So this is a public hearing as well. If anyone would like to speak to the item 5D. I will close the public hearing for item 4D. And look for a motion.
It's Commissioner Anderson, I'll make a motion. Again, are we recommending or this is recommending?
You're recommending. City Council.
to recommend approval to amend the detached accessory dwelling unit parking requirements from the required 2 parking spaces to 1 required parking space.
This is Commissioner Mitchell, I second.
I have a first by Commissioner Anderson, a second by Commissioner Mitchell. Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Schill,
Nay.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
I'm Commissioner Bullock. I'm an aye as well. This will go on to City Council. So I'll look for adjournment.
This is Commissioner Mitchell, I move that we adjourn our planning commission, or our land, which one are we in?
Planning Commission.
Sheila, I'll second whatever you said.
I got a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Planning Commission.
am.
All right. Okay. Let's start this land use authority meeting. Welcome to the land use authority meeting for Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Ms. Commissioner Mitchell, I move that we approve the agenda. Meeting November, Land Use Authority meeting November 6, 2024.
Shield, I second.
I'm first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2 is approval of the minutes from the October 2nd, 2024 meeting.
This Shield, I would move that we approve the minutes from October 2nd, Land Use Authority meeting.
This Commissioner Mitchell, I second.
I'm first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So declaration of abstentions and conflicts. Does anybody have any?
No.
Okay, we'll go to item number 4A. Is a partial amendment of final plat approval for Standing Rock East Phase 1 subdivision located in Long Valley Road and Gulch Lane. The application's D.R. Horton. We'll turn the time over to Eldon.
Thank you, Commissioners, Land Use Authority. The reason for this amendment is to add one lot, Lot 4059. It's on the corner there. No other changes are being made at this time. Staff has reviewed the amendment and finds it conforms to the PCD zoning of this development, and the subdivision remains in compliance with city ordinance. Staff recommends the Land Use Authority approve Standing Rock East Phase 1 amended partial amendment A based on the original findings and conditions as stated in the report. And I am happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
They still have plenty of, it looks like they're just taking up some common space.
Exactly, yep,
They still have plenty of common space for the whole project, and they're under their units.
yes.
All right.
Yeah, they could have put this unit somewhere else on the back end to meet the density that they were given. They liked this spot, and here we are.
Cool. So this is a public hearing, and I will open this up. If anyone has any comments on item 4A. Okay, then I will close the public hearing for item 4A. Do you guys have any questions?
This is Shield. I would move that we approve.
Hey, turn your mic on.
Sorry, here's one mic. This Shield. I would move that we approve the Standing Rock East at Long Valley Phase 1 Final Plat Partial Amendment A located at Long Valley Road and Glitch Lane for the creation of that additional lot, 4059.
Commissioner Anderson, I second.
First by Schill and second by Anderson. Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Schill,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bullock, I'm an aye as well. This will pass. The next item is 4B, a preliminary plat approval for the Sandy Creek subdivision located at approximately 222 West, 840 South. The applicant is Austin Anderson, and we'll turn this over to Eldon.
This preliminary plat has since expired from the original approval date of January 11th, 2023. The applicant is ready to move forward with the original plan with the following changes, which I'll highlight here really quick. Lots 7 through 12, the lot depth is going to be increased. See them there on the map. Lots 13 through 18, just south of there, the lot depth will be reduced. And then lots 19 through 26, the lot width will be reduced. Those are the noted changes. Everything else stays the same. We did receive a public comment regarding a water line, which staff looked into today with the engineer. It's a St. George irrigation line. And on the last page, Drew, there's a drawing there showing the approximate location of the water line. That blue line runs approximately there, which the engineer's on board, and an easement will be in place to accommodate that water line that was never documented. No easement was in place, which is why it was missed, but we're moving forward to address that.
Who's addressing that? Is it the applicant that's doing the legwork to get that into writing and documented?
The engineer, the project engineer.
So the engineer will do that, and then our role as staff is just to make sure that that does get recorded and in place.
Correct.
Does that change this layout at all?
No, the changes that were made actually benefits that easement. It's set in the right of way is what it appears, so it seems to be working out. There will be an easement between the two lots, which we've gone away from, lots 5 and 6, but there should be a setback requirement there regardless, so it really shouldn't affect the layout of the build out.
I tried to find this on Google Maps and just to get my bearings and drive over there. I don't know that my map was working correctly, but
It's intense.
is there any houses or sheds or anything on this? It looked like there was to me.
Commissioner Shield, it's one of our best kept secrets. It's down in a historic area that's got,
Well,
ranching and things around it, but it's a really nice little tucked in. It's really hard to find if you don't know where it's at already. Drew will show you there on the map where it is.
It's over by the Posse grounds, isn't it?
Secret out.
kind of behind the envelope company, right? The old envelope?
It's by Larson.
There's the Larson Roping Arena right here on First East, as you cross the creek, heading south on 100 East. There's a 5-lot cul-de-sac or 6-lot right here. The area we're talking about is, I'll just highlight one of these properties right there.
Okay, all right.
The new Foot in Motion building.
That large industrial building there.
Yeah, nope, it's
So the-
back here a little bit.
That cul-de-sac there you see to the east, large homes, kind of ranch country feel with big yards, irrigation systems and pastures and things. And so, yeah, this would be a residential development. I think that residential would feel the closest, feel the most proximate for the properties that are being built and neighbors that are being affected.
Let's keep it acres and put some horses on it. I'm just kidding.
With that being said, staff recommends the Planning Commission approve the preliminary plat for the Sandy Creek subdivision based on the findings and conditions in the report, and I'm happy to answer any further questions you may have.
Do we need to add a condition about that water line?
There's one good way. Just start digging. You'll find it.
Just make it part of your motion so it's in there and it's been talked about and the commission is aware of it. I mean, the land use authority, sorry, I've got to still get used to that. But just make sure that, as whoever makes the motion, just to put a condition that the water line be verified and the easement placed on top as needed.
This is Commissioner Anderson. I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Sandy Creek subdivision located approximately 222 west, 840 south, with the findings and conditions outlined by staff, and add an extra condition that the St. George irrigation line is added for that.
Shall I second?
First by Commissioner Anderson, second by Schill. Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
Commissioner Schill. Aye. Commissioner Anderson. I'm Commissioner Bullock. I'm an aye as well. This passes. I look for an adjournment.
Michelle, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
This is Mitchell, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.